Hi Capricorn, welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Before I forget, for those of you who'd like to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel. Check out the description of the video for all of the information on that. And thanks to those of you who've already liked, subscribed, and shared videos as well, and also donated. And for those of you who are used to my regular readings and haven't seen this spread yet, this is what I call a bridging the gap spread. So the way it works, the cards on the left side here would represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest. Cards on this side would represent their energy toward the connection. And then these cards would represent the past energy, present energy, future energy. And then what we do after we're done getting through the main spread is we'll pull some oracle cards to see if we could get some additional insight there. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. And for those of you wondering what decks these are, on the left side here we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on this side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. All right, so let's get into it. Starting with the past position on your side, we have Sacrifice. So this is actually the equivalent of the Hangman in the regular tarot. So there's a few ways this could be coming across. The first one that comes to my mind is this could be someone that you felt like you had to make a lot of sacrifices for, whatever that may be. You might have felt like maybe you had to stop putting as much focus into one area of your life in order to give more focus to the connection. And, to an extent, that's what a relationship is about. To some level, we all make some type of sacrifice in those connections, but at the same time, you might have felt like it might have been a bit overwhelming, like the expectations were too great on you in order to do it. Or this could just be saying that you actually sacrificed getting into a love relationship because you had other goals in mind. That's another way that could be playing out for some of you as well. And with this being a Pisces energy and Neptune being in your third house of communication, which is Pisces, this could just be also saying that you've been in a really reflective mood, trying to see things clearly, look at things from a different perspective. So maybe it's also saying that in the past you were trying to decide if it was worth making a sacrifice to get into a connection with someone. All right, the past energy on their side, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Wands. So this is actually a Virgo card here, and then the King of Wands is a Leo card. So you could be dealing with someone who's either a Leo sun, and maybe they have like their Mercury and Venus in Virgo, or vice versa. But another thing that I'm picking up with this too could just be saying that, you might have one way of expressing love, right? But then they might have a whole different set of expectations. So in one way I could say that is, maybe no matter what you would do for them, it never felt like it would be good enough. You know what I mean? Like they always expected more. And it could just be because the two of you had different love languages. You know what I mean? Like you might try to offer more practical, tangible things to them, and they want like more of like a grand romantic gesture. You know what I mean? That might not be as substantive, but it's just like the type of thing that they would want. So that could be what's going on, or what was going on rather, in the past. And that's really the main vibe that I'm getting there for some reason. Yeah, I mean, because like when I look at this card, this person looks like they're pretty indifferent, and I think the energy of this card in this particular deck is even referred to as indifference too. And then just thinking about that King of Wands energy, I think about that Leo energy, that big, proud energy. They just might want something on a more grand scale. In the present, we have the Ace of Coins, which is, the Ace of Pentacles in the regular deck. But this could just be saying that you're now thinking about making an offer towards this person in a more, stable way. So maybe this is you deciding, again, with that sacrifice energy in the past, maybe you were really thinking over, do I want to, take things to the next level with this person or not, right? That could have been what you've been reflecting on. So then with the Ace of Coins, this could just be saying that now you're deciding, all right, I'm going to extend an offer to them to move things into a more stable type of commitment. And for others of you, again, this could also be the same thing where you might be foregoing a relationship in order to pursue something more in the financial arena too. So that's the way it could be playing out for some of you. Now on their side, we actually have the Ten of Cups, or Ten of Chalices in this deck, but same thing. So this is a card, generally speaking, normally you think of that as happiness, just feeling really content with the relationship. Sometimes it can even point to getting to the point where you start a family with the person. But to me, I get a bit of a different vibe with the artwork here too. It almost to me looks like this person's extending something to the other person. Their mind's completely somewhere else. You know what I mean? So again, that could point either way with these energies too, which is, like I said, for some of you, the sacrifice and the Ace of Coins could be pointing to the fact that you've been foregoing a relationship because you've really been more focused on another area of life, possibly finances. So this could be them feeling like they're trying to extend romantic gestures to you, but your mind is just elsewhere right now. So there could be a bit of a disconnect there, because with the Ten of Cups, if you think about in the traditional Rider-Waite, there's a rainbow with the couple, and to me, that makes me think of, sometimes seeing things from a very idealized view rather than how they actually are, which can be good to an extent in a romantic relationship, but sometimes it'll lead to you glossing over some bigger issues in a connection too. So maybe that's what's going on there too, saying that, they're trying to gloss over the issues, but really they're still there. So I'm just getting a general disconnect vibe between the two sides, either way you want to look at it. And then in the future position, we have Innocence, which is the equivalent of the Fool card. Ten of Arrows, which is the equivalent of Ten of Swords. And then we have Transformation, which is the equivalent of the Death card. So what's interesting to me first is that, Transformation or the Death card is a 13, and 12 is the card you had in the past. So there's a progression there to me. That's one way I see it, which is saying that you're definitely coming out of that energy of introspection, trying to decide what to do. So it does seem like you're going to be a bit more decisive in the future. And then regarding that, I see a leap of faith being taken too. So the way I'm seeing these three cards play out, you have that leap of faith, right? That Ten of Arrows to me saying is you're coming out of that thought phase, because again, both the energies I picked up on your side. Sacrifice is about thinking, looking at things from a different perspective, just being trapped in your mind a bit. Ace of Coins, to me, the aces are still something that's in the idea phase. And then, with the 10, that means, okay, you're coming out of the thought process and now you're actually making the moves to transform something. So for some of you, this could just be saying, like I said, if you feel like you're in a connection where you're always giving and, it never seems appreciated, right? Where maybe they might feel the same way too with the Ten of Cups. Again, it could just be that your love languages are so different that there's like that big barrier to cross. So you might both feel like you never appreciate each other. So this could just be saying you're putting an end to that connection for that reason. Now, with this representing Pluto and Persephone too, this could just be pointing to the fact that it's really been an on and off connection, and that might have been the problem. You guys might go through those phases where you try doing things for one another, maybe things go well for a while, and then you end up falling out because, again, neither of you end up appreciating what the other person's doing. So maybe it's just a karmic cycle that the two of you have been repeating. And maybe this month, especially with that full moon eclipse, it's actually going to be conjunct Pluto too, which again, that death card represents Pluto energy. So maybe it's saying that that's actually what needs to happen when that full moon hits. You actually make the decision to end that cycle. Now, for some of you, that can mean leaving the connection. For others of you, it might just be coming to a realization that, okay, it's just that, we express love differently, and maybe making an effort to work around that, right? And say, hey, this is what I need, and they tell you the same. Maybe you guys just talk it out. But for a lot of you, I feel like it could be saying that you'd actually be ending the connection. And then again, like I said, for those of you, if it's been where you've been focused more on finances instead of the relationship, maybe that's what you've been coming to a realization about as well, and saying, okay, I have to put in more effort. So that could be another way it's playing out. On their side in the future, we have the King of Swords. So this is an Aquarius energy, and that tends to be a pretty detached energy, um, typically pretty independent as well. And I mean, obviously, if we look at the artwork here, it looks like there's some kind of a third party scenario going on too. So, it might be one of those things where you might actually discover that they've been involved in the third party or vice versa. I'm getting more of a vibe that it might be them who would be in the third party because I'm not really necessarily seeing you come across as the King of Swords, although it's possible since there was so much, like I said, a lot of thought energy on your side. It is at least a slight possibility. But yeah, for others of you, it could be that it's them. And then what's interesting on their side, they also have the Death card at the bottom of the deck. And it looks like there's two people in the background there too. So definitely could have been some third party dynamic going on. And again, maybe it's because, again, maybe you had to put so much emphasis into your career. This person felt like they weren't being shown the love that they felt they deserved, right? Like you could have been dealing with a water sign, possibly a Scorpio. So maybe that's what led to that rift. Maybe you're coming to the realization that, what, maybe this innocence is saying the two of you might have been together for a really long time, but you just come to a realization that it was really just a karmic relationship and the two of you are just growing apart. And at the bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Five of Arrows, which is the Five of Swords. This is also Aquarius energy too. So you guys definitely have some mirroring energy to an extent, but to me, this just represents that you could just be leaving. It's one of those things, though, where if you think about it in the traditional sense, I always see this as those cards where you have those arguments that going into it, nothing good's going to come out of it, but you still do it anyway. So that could end up being what ends up happening. The two of you might get into that. Or you might start to realize that that's always what happens between the two of you, where you're like, you know what, this is just a repetitive cycle where we always get caught up in this. And then you might just decide this month, especially with that full moon hitting right there with Pluto, like I said, full moon eclipse in your sign, you just might decide, all right, well, I need to move on from this, basically. So that's really what I'm seeing. Either the two of you deciding to put that stuff behind you and realize, okay, let's talk about what we really need and move forward, or you're both just on that page where you're like, you know what, let's cut ties. It's just not really working. Let's see if we can get some additional messages with the Oracle decks. So first, I'll see if we could get anything from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck here. So I do shuffle this deck before we start recording, and then what I'll do is I'll shuffle a bit more and see if we get any jumpers. So first I'm going to be looking to see if there's any unspoken messages from you toward them. And then after that, we'll look and see if there's any unspoken messages from them toward you. Alright, I'll shuffle a little bit more, but it doesn't seem like there's anything coming up yet. Alright, yeah, nothing there. So next we'll see if there's any unspoken messages from them toward you. It definitely does seem like communication is a bit of a problem between the two of you, if nothing else, Definitely seems like there's some kind of disconnect. Like I said, maybe it's just you coming to the realization that, you guys have grown apart. Not that it makes it easier, but, it does seem to be the general vibe that I'm getting from the majority of you. Like I said, others of you could be, oh, there we go, got something. Okay, so I actually got a few cards, so hold on, let me grab them. Alright, so we have maybe we're just too different. So that actually aligns with what we were talking about up to this point, where you guys just might come to that realization that it's just too much of a gap to bridge. But let's see, maybe there's different messages. I'm reminded of you constantly. That's an interesting one. And there's going to be a lot of Mercury retrograde energy, eclipses, you name it. So this is going to be a pretty wild month. So this might even be someone coming back to you, maybe where if you've had that bumpy relationship in the past, maybe now they're trying to fix things. I don't know. I'm not picking up on that as much, but at least for some of you, that might be what's going on. And there you go. So 2 out of the 3 seem to support what I'm feeling from this main spread, which is that it seems like you guys just can't get on the same page. Maybe this is at least saying that it's more of a temporary thing, where they're just like, what, maybe this isn't the right time for us to work toward this. Like I said, especially if you have other goals in mind that you're too wrapped up in right now anyway to really give too much to the relationship. So they just might be at that point where that's where they're coming off with, it doesn't necessarily have to be a third party thing with the King of Swords there. It could just be that more that they're coming out with a really detached energy, like, what, this just isn't going to work right now. So maybe you guys may take a temporary break, but I don't know. Like I said, definitely doesn't seem like you guys are doing too well this month at least. And the last thing we'll do is I'll try to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. This is one of the decks I use in the regular readings every month, so you've probably seen it before. And we'll try to get one more message from this deck, and then we'll wrap up. And for some of you with innocence in the future position, and maybe that's where the third party feel is coming from, with that eclipse, the new moon eclipse in your 7th house, which is coming up basically in a day or two at the time of recording this. But yeah, maybe what's going on there is maybe someone new comes along and makes you realize just how different you and the other person are, to where you're like, what, maybe maybe it's just time that I try something new, So that could be part of what's at play as well. Alright, I'll shuffle a little bit longer, see if we get anything from this deck. I do like to at least get one from this deck usually, just because, they have pretty good messages, so we'll see. There we go. Alright. The card you guys got is Here and Now. Won't focus for some reason, but there's the artwork for it. And the number is 32. Yeah, it's really weird that it won't focus. But anyway, let's get the messages from there. Okay, essential meaning says being fully present in the moment, living one day at a time. The Oracle's message: everything happens in the now, in the present. Only this moment counts. You have what it takes to handle anything today if you let go of the need to look into the future or reflect on the past. Be present and notice what is going on right now. This very moment has the potential for you to create miracles in your life. And the relationship message says it's easy to yearn for a love affair or a friendship you may not have right now. One that is more romantic, more fun, more reliable, more passionate. The good old days are gone and a new day has dawned. Let your heart trust that you have everything you need right now, whether you have the relationship you desire or not. Tomorrow is beyond your reach. Yesterday cannot return. The now is all that is available to you. Stay present and aware that in this moment, as you cherish and approve of your beautiful self, you are a magnet for love. Spirit is madly in love with you right now. Did you know that? Turn to Spirit to feel the joy of love in the here and now. So, I mean, in a way, that almost lends to that energy we were talking about too, as far as it said the good old days are gone and a new day is dawned. So, yeah, that really does a lot of the energy that I'm seeing here just seems to lean toward you guys just realizing that you might just be too different. And I was saying maybe grown apart to where maybe you did have a connection at one point, but maybe you're just realizing as time goes on that you really are just growing apart from each other. So maybe that's really what's at play there. And like it says, maybe it's for the best. Not that it makes it any easier to deal with in the moment. I feel you there. So if that is what you're grappling with, I do feel for you. But that's what I'm feeling. And, at the same time, there's a lot of retrogrades and a lot of eclipse energy this month. So if you're still on the fence and you're not 100% sure, you could try to ride it out if you can and see if anything improves next month. All right, but we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. Bye.